I'm going to tell you a little bit about three women who have risen to power and become prime minister across India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh: Benazir Bhutto, Indira Gandhi, and Sheikh Hasina. All three of these women became prime minister at some point in their country, were daughters of a founding father of some political ideology, movement, or country. 2 out of 3 of them were assassinated, and 1 had to flee the country. So where exactly did we go wrong in South Asia? South Asia did produce some of the earliest women leaders long before the West, but every single one of them was somehow tied to a powerful man. And all 3 of them, sadly, are remembered through narratives of corruption, repression, or failure. So let's start with Indira Gandhi, India's first and most powerful female prime minister, and she was also the daughter of Jawaharlal Nehru, the first prime minister of India. She led India during the 1971 war, which eventually led to the liberation of Bangladesh, and her legacy is inseparable from the emergency period, a time where civil liberties were suspended, dissent was crushed, and press was censored. In 1984, she was assassinated by her bodyguards, and this can be a whole separate video, but this led to riots all across India and the killing and lynching of many Sikh people. Next, let's talk about Benazir Bhutto. Her government and her rule was constantly undermined by the military. She had a lot of allegations of corruption. She was by no means a perfect leader. She was the daughter of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, who was the founder of the Pakistan People's Party, and he was executed by the military dictator Zia al-Haq. So when Benazir returned from exile, she was carrying not just her political ambitions, but a martyr's legacy. The majority of the country was looking at her favorably. She symbolized democracy, modernity, and resistance to military rule. In 2007, she was assassinated. If you were alive and aware of Pakistani politics during the time, this was a moment that changed a lot for the country. And next, let's talk about Bangladesh. Bangladesh is unique because for the first few decades of the country, it was completely ruled by women. Bangladesh technically had 2 female prime ministers, but I really want to focus on Sheikh Hasina. She's the daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who was the founding father of Bangladesh. He led Bangladesh into liberation and led the resistance against the Pakistani army. Mujibur Rahman, similar to Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, was assassinated, and Sheikh Hasina was sent into exile. She spent years in exile, eventually returned to politics, and became one of the longest serving female prime ministers in history. Very recently, as I'm sure some of you saw in the news, Sheikh Hasina also was accused of authoritarianism and corruption in her government. In fact, young people protested all over Bangladesh, forced Sheikh Hasina out of power, looted her house, and she had to leave the country. This is kind of where I feel the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. There's a political sociologist named Denise Candioti, and she describes women's participation in patriarchal political systems as a patriarchal bargain, where women gain power not by dismantling the patriarchy, but by navigating and inheriting it. You look at all 3 of these cases in South Asia, the women didn't enter politics as outsiders challenging the system. They entered as acceptable heirs, safe vessels for the male legacies that came before them. So yes, these women did break barriers and ceilings, but a lot of them were set up to fail and were entering a country of instability.